So touring shows, this is like your Cirque du Soleil, your Cirque Éloise, all that sort of stuff. Generally, these are sort of 3-month to lifetime contracts. I say lifetime contracts, generally that means up until injury. A lot of the time, these people only leave these contracts because of an injury. Ruben, who's doing your SEO talk, I'm sure he'll have a little chat with you about this. He was in Cirque Éloise until a really bad shoulder injury. So these can go on forever and ever and ever if you're a juggler. They're better than minimum wage jobs, but a lot of the time these will be high workload. You may be doing 1 show a day, you may be doing 2 shows a day. If you're doing a touring circus show, I'm sure Ailey can help us out a little bit here, but you might have to help with put up and pack downs, things like that in your tents. Yeah. I'm not sure what you did then. I know Chris did a lot of...
They re-strong gender roles in touring circus, so the women might do the curtains, but all the men do the heavy lifting. Yeah. I did 2 acts. It's great work.
So it sounds like a good job for women then, not so much for men. Okay, so yeah, long days can be expected with a lot of touring shows. You may have to supply your own accommodation, you may need like a traveling caravan, that sort of stuff. And a lot of the time, again, they'll want full act videos. They'll see through your shiny promo video a lot of the time and just want to know, is the act actually any good? Don't be a diva if you're working on a touring show. That's a very quick way of being cut from a touring show, is if you're just being a pain in the arse with everyone. So just put up with the mud and the blood and the guts and you'll be fine. Used to a hard day's work, it's a lot of hard graft, those touring shows, the long days, and a lot of heavy lifting and stuff. And by the end, you'll have a super solid act, which is really good. Because you'll have ran that show twice a day for 6 months, you'll have a super tight act by the end, which may not be anything like the act you started with though. So, kids parties, again, this afternoon we'll be having a great chat from Marky J, a little bit about this sort of stuff. So, I'm going to quickly brush through this again. You can get multiple in a day, which is great. You can be home by 4 o'clock. Generally, your parties are between 1 hour and 2 hours, and you could do that sort of from arrival. You may offer multiple services. You may offer like a disco or a kids' party afterwards, that sort of stuff. They will go direct. A lot of the time, kids' parties do not go through agents. It's quite hard as an agent to justify adding on 20%, pardon me, to a kids' party price. HR in check, DBS checks, very important with kids' parties. Your reputation is huge. All these parents literally have mothers' meetings and talk about this sort of stuff. So if you screw up a kid's party, you've probably screwed up that friendship circle. So being right on point for that is perfect. And a lot of the time, they're looking for a good price. So, next thing, this is a generalization based on the highest wages available for a 1-day, 1 event. This is a huge generalization because these are rough estimates based on what I've collected. So I'd say your high corporate, your high-end jobs, those international corporate jobs are the best paying jobs you can get. Your mid-range corporates, you know, the branch dinners, that sort of thing. Then your cruise ship work. Cruise ship work is very well paid, so I'd say that's just a little bit under for your mid-range corporate. But again, those two are sort of interchangeable because if you've got a headline spot on a cruise ship, you can get a lot of cash. Residency work, that's a generalization based on the residency work I've done. Some residency work can be quite badly paid, but residency work can again be very good paid if you're going direct with a client. Your weddings, again, generalization, because you can have large weddings, small weddings. Weddings can pay quite well though. Your low corporate, again, your general small corporate, your general small charity balls. Then your military events. Military events in general, they can pay well, and generally they won't fight you on fees a lot of the time. As long as you're offering a really good service, then they won't fight you on fees. Private parties come after your military events, then your council events. Council are generally normally a bit tight-fisted with their budget a lot of the time. Unless you're doing Christmas lights switch on for some reason, then all of a sudden they find loads of money. Then your touring shows, then your kids' parties. Super rough estimate. I know people who've done kids' parties for thousands. So this is a super rough estimate. Now, this next one, does everyone understand what market cap means? No. So market cap is the total money available within a certain pool. So it's the market cap for Bitcoin at the minute is like 58 billion or something like that. That is the general wealth of money within that certain area. So this is sort of the market cap. This is again based on estimates. This is based on the sort of bookings we get as an agency. So this is whole estimates. But I'd say corporates have the largest market cap. That's because they've got a lot of frequency of corporate events and generally a lot of well-paying corporate events. Next, your weddings, and that again is because of the frequency of them, because there's so many weddings going on all the time. There's such a large pool of money available. Touring shows, again, they may pay a little, but there's so many of them doing so much. So there's a large market cap available with touring shows. Council, again, mainly due to the frequency of the event, there's quite a lot of money available there. Kids' parties, huge jump up the list because you can do 4 kids' parties a day, 7 days a week, and that's a whole lot of money available for you. Military. Now, military have dropped down the list a little bit, and that's mainly because there's not a huge amount of events. I think there's maybe 60 barracks across the UK, and each barracks may do 4 or 5 events per year, something like that. So there's not a huge amount of events available. Cabaret, again, there's a lot of cabarets going on, but I still think that's a little bit below military. Residency, there's not many residency jobs available. There just isn't that many. They're very few and far between. If you end up on a residency, you're very lucky. So because of that, the market cap for residency is quite low. Privates, not many people spend that much money on circus performers for their birthday parties. So although the private party market is huge, I think the amount available for circus performers is quite small. That's why I've put private parties down at the bottom.